Raph, what's going on? I want to say welcome. I Never Knew TV.
Thank you so much for having me, my brother.
Serious thing. It was a pleasure to have you. I want to get right into the thing, right? I was reading Fix the Country petition, and in that petition, you make a lot of references to corruption amongst what you refer to as the political elite in Ghana. What acts of corruption are you referring to?
Bribery and corruption, nepotism, and many more, looting and sharing. A lot of things are really going on in this country that is really a corrupt act that is not really building the country. So I would say nepotism is actually killing us as a country right now.
Please explain the system where Ghanaians don't have the option of paying their rent month to month. They have to pay their rent up front for the year. How is this possible when the salary for most Ghanaians is so low? So how are people able to pay their living expenses up front? I heard about a borrowing culture. I heard a lot of people like borrowing from each other or something.
It's like we're delving deep into culture right now. That is because of our social upbringing as Africans. I would say, Ghanaians particularly, we are built in that way. We are built with that love and, empathy for each other. So I think it is very surprising, when somebody coming from the other side of the world see this kind of, or hear this kind of thing. Is like surprising. What's going on? That you people actually live literally in your country, paying like 2 years upfront, and you can literally go to see your, landlady or landlord or whoever that owns your apartment and have a negotiation that, okay, give me like 2 months, I'm going to pay. Give me 3 months, I'm going to pay. But literally, you have to pay 2 years or 3 years upfront before you can actually have an apartment to live in. And it's really, really tough. It's really, really tough as a country because we don't have government policies. We don't have, systems that has been put in place to make sure that people having a decent life, accommodation and all things are well structured under the laws. So it is very hard. It is very tough, but that's the kind of society we live because the people does not even understand what is actually happening around them. And when we put people in leadership into office, some of these things are supposed to be, putting in place to make sure that it kind of build the people's life, move them from one point to the other, and not to let them actually wallow in the poverty and the pain that still keep them for years.
So my question is like, how do people pay for a living? That's the thing I'm stuck on. Like, how do you come up with money?
Well, you see,
I understand the negotiation part, right? But like, how do you even come up with 2, 3, 4, 5 months of rent in advance? That seems like a lot of pressure.
Good
financial pressure.
Yeah, it is really a great pressure on the youth of this country because it's something that if you go around the streets of Ghana to ask the ordinary Ghanaian, they're going to tell you the truth, that it is very tough. But like I said earlier, we live in a society that it has become a culture. Okay, we've accepted that this is the norm. That is a normal thing. We've normalized it. You understand? We have really normalized it. So people don't really see it in as much as it is really breaking us economically, socially, spiritually, and everything. Okay, they still see it to be normal because it has been normalized in the society.
Realistically, how does a young person get started? Like, say a person wants to leave the house at some point, right? How do you leave the house if you don't have a year's worth of rent? Because you're just starting out. You don't have a lot of money. So, like, how does a young person transition to a more independent lifestyle? Or do people have to stay with their parents for a very long time?
Yeah, that is what is happening in the country because, it becomes very tough for you living home. Okay, that's why when you come to Ghana, you can basically see people at the ages of 25, 30 years living with their parents. You understand? Because if you do the breakdown of how much you are making at the end of the month, it does not add up and it wouldn't give you that leverage to be able to rent an apartment for yourself. You understand? So it is very tough. Sometimes when you are being asked this question, you kind of find it very hard to answer it because it is very tough how people are maneuvering themselves through this kind of thing, because it's not easy. It's not easy. But because of our social life and, the way we've been brought up, you can literally call a friend, a brother to, kind of sort you out. So let's say me, for instance, and I want to go rent, and, I don't have the money to pay for 2 years. I can just pick up the phone and call a brother, yo, bro, can you just lend me like 10,000? Can you lend me like 8,000? So that you can start up with something, pay for your first 8 months or 1 year. Right now, some of the, landlords and, apartment renters are really, doing that kind of negotiations with people. But the ordinary Ghanaian, it's very tough. Let me put it that way. Very tough. And it's very hard for them to find decent accommodations to be living in. That's why when you go to certain places in the capital city, you find people living in slums, on the streets. It's getting more intense every day, because their daily wages and the amount of money they are receiving at the end of the month does not even add up to how much they can get to take care of themselves, not to take off renting.
In regards to college graduates, right? I met a lot of brilliant brothers when I was out there, and they were telling me that I'm confused. So this is the thing. I know Ghana is pushing repatriation, right, in regards to the return. They're pushing for people in the States or Europe to return. But my question is, what are they doing to keep the brilliant Ghanaians in Ghana so they don't leave? Because I know a lot of countries suffer from brain drain. So what are they doing to keep the brilliant minds in Ghana and employed?
Nothing. And this is one of the most hurting parts of our movement. I about 3-4 months ago, we had a protest in Ghana, and I was granted an interview where I told the people that if they really want to see how the leadership of this country is actually breaking us down, destroying this country, they should go to the airport at the times of 7 p.m. to go and see what is happening there. Because when you go there around 7 o'clock p.m., you find out that some airlines are getting ready to take off. So check-in time start 7 o'clock or 7:30, and you get the biggest airlines like the BA, the Emirates, and other airlines getting ready for check-in and stuff. And you see young Ghanaians with brilliant ideas, with innovative ideas, leaving the shores of the country. At first, we used to use the Mediterranean Sea, traveling outside the shores of our country. But right now, they are even using the airport, paying huge sums of money to leave. And all this is happening because of bad leadership. We are literally not doing anything to stop the young people of this country from leaving the shores of our country, because we need brilliant ideas. We need innovative ideas. We need the young people, because every country with all the resources you have, you don't have the human capital, competent and, industrious enough to add value to the things you have as a country, as a continent, then you're not going anywhere. So it is very poor on the side of the people we call leaders. I don't see them leaders. Leaders are supposed to impact in the life of the young people. Leaders are supposed to impact in the life of the people that are not even yet born. And when you look at the young, brilliant young Ghanaians, energetic Ghanaians, leaving the shores of our country to go and build other countries that we are even calling repatriation, people to come back home, then it is a problem. It is very a huge problem that we need to be working on as a people. We can't continue living like this. And we can only call the people in leadership to start thinking right. That is the only way we have. The people who have gained the education, the people who have become conscious of themselves, the people who are right now seeking to come back home, needs to start championing the kind of education that will orient the minds of the ordinary Ghanaian person who is thinking that, hey, Europe is the next opportunity for me. America is the next opportunity for me. No, Africa and Ghana, our country, is the next opportunity for us. And America was built by Americans, regardless, whether African Americans or whichever. It was built by Americans. And if Africa needs to be built, it needs to be built by Africans. But hey, the youth, the competent and visionary and smart young people who are to be used in building this continent are forced to leave the continent, because the so-called people that we call leaders, the people we vote for, that are supposed to be thinking, that are supposed to be bringing innovative ideas for it to be initialized by the young people are actually strangling the young people with this kind of rent issues that you're talking about. There are more to it. It's not only rent, okay? You can even find a decent life to live as a young person. How much is the average Ghanaian receiving? I have done research on my own. When you go to the streets of Accra, go and ask from the bigger shops that we have in Ghana. And the highest the young Ghanaian is receiving is less than even $100 a month. So you tell me, if people are working in the capital cities where we all know that rent is skyrocketing every single month, every single year, and people are averagely paid, people work within 28 days, 14 hours around the clock, and receiving less than $100. Why wouldn't this person leave the shores of the country? There are nurses who have graduated school for more than 2-3 years, and they are still sitting home, whereas certain countries are importing in nurses. Why do you think that young person will live in the country? That person will just start packing their things and leave. God, literally, they don't see no future for their lives living in the country. And how do you call other people to start seeing your country to be an environment where they are going to be welcomed with not only their bodies, but their ideas, their competence, their energy to help build and change the society for other people who are not even seeing Africa to be the country where they should visit? Start thinking about, hey, our people moved there about 2, 3, 4 years ago. Their businesses are growing. Their lives are getting better. They are living life without fear. So we also need to start going home. I think the leaders that we see have failed us, and we don't have that in our country. And we are not in, or the leaders are not in any position to even be calling people back home. I can recall that about 4 years ago, we started Ghana Beyond coming home or something, policy that was initiated of the government in office right now. So if we are, saying that, hey, our fellow Africans out there, you are welcome to visit Africa anytime. We are opening our shores for you people to come. Go and take free visits. Visit Africa. Come and exploit the Africa that you've been lied to for years. That when you come here, there are viruses, there are illness, we don't have places to sleep. Come and inherit it. Come and live it and see for yourself what Africa is, what Ghana is. And you come to Ghana, you speak to the average Ghanaian person, and they don't have even a decent life. They don't have a decent accommodations to be living in. How do you think this person will stay and not leave? And go tell others that, hey, even the people back home are not having a decent life. Imagine a high school graduate from the US or the UK or wherever trying to get back to Africa to come and work. Where is the opportunity? Where are you going to be working? And if even the opportunities are there for you to get employment, how much are you going to live? Are you going to be able to live that decent life that a young person is supposed to live, to be able to enjoy life that he has been enjoying or he has been previewed to out there? No.
What do you believe is the main reason for the economic crisis Ghana is experiencing that is causing food and fuel prices to be at record highs?
I would say bribery, corruption, nepotism, and looting and sharing. You see, right now, Ghana's debt is over 500 and, if I'm not mistaken, about 563 billion Ghana cedi or something. Okay, and we are asking ourselves that government has borrowed all these monies, and these monies are supposed to be used to the benefit of the people, the ordinary Ghanaian person. Let's ask ourselves that, are we actually benefiting from it? No. Why is the question. Okay, why is it not benefiting people? Because people have been selected in offices not based on the level of competence, patriotism, and serving or exhibiting leadership for the people, but to just loot for themselves, just rob from the people their opportunities to live a decent life. So looting and sharing has been the norm in our country. Loans have been taken in the name of the ordinary Ghanaian, and the people in leadership share it among themselves. You can imagine currently we have one member of parliament, a minister of state, who said he has actually desilted one of the biggest, ravers in the city of Accra, Odona, with $43 million. As we speak, there are still fields and sand stuck that water cannot even flow properly in this river. Not long ago, she went to report a case that $1 million have been stolen away from his home, and per investigations, the citizens started asking questions. Why did you have $1 million US in your home? Because people living in America can't even be storing $1 million in their homes. Big investors, businessmen in America don't even store such monies under their beds. Okay, and upon investigations and whatever, they went to his house and find, some more currencies, euros, dollars, pound sterling being found in his room. Now you ask yourself, where are all these monies coming from? It's coming from the monies that have been borrowed to be used in developing the country. And these people are looting it and sharing it among themselves, because nepotism has been the key in governance in our own part of the world. That when governments are being chosen into office, they choose their cousins, their brothers, their nephews in office. And, they come and just take from the country. They loot from the country. Even you wanted to say something?
No, I have a question, man. So with this IMF loan, right? The thing I don't understand is that Ghana has an abundance of gold, oil, manganese, diamonds, and probably a bunch of other stuff I don't even know about. Even just produce, just fruits and vegetables alone to export. So, why are they even in a position where they're taking loans?
Right. It is because of the same nepotism and looting and sharing for themselves. Because, may he so rest in peace, John Pope Magufuli, the former Tanzanian president, who became president, I think, 2017, never borrowed no money from any international bank. He never borrowed any money from any foreign account. He never went to the IMF. Yet, he was able to build and leave a strong legacy in the minds of conscious African leaders who want to come and lead with a legacy for their people. This man never took no money from no places, but he was able to build railways. He was able to build roads, housing for the people. Where did he get the money? From the same mineral resources. Okay? He started adding value to the mineral resources they have as a country. Do you understand? So the leaders in Africa would only export and go and do business negotiations. Okay, we have the gold, we have the bauxite, we have the manganese, we have the platinum, we have the lithium, we have the timber, cocoa, whatever it is. But you know what? We want you to do business with us. Recently, let me even talk about that. We discovered lithium in our country, Ghana. The current mineral resources minister is saying that Ghana has signed the best deal ever for taking 13% out of 100% of our mineral resources. That is going to, the lithium contract that we are signing. This is, if it is not incompetence, or if this is not mere wickedness, or having, some kind of interest behind back doors that the people don't see, what is it? And we know that, these international companies strike deals behind closed doors with these ministers and people in government. Because ask yourself, how are political parties getting monies to fund elections? How are they doing it? So these companies that are coming in to, do business with the country out of their mineral resources will sit down with you and say, hey, we're going to strike deal with you. So instead of 40% or 80% or 50%, we are going to go for, let's say, 10%. But the overall contract, we are going to take, let's say, 30% or 45%. Now, the 45%, we are going to take 20% or 25%. Then they say it among 7 people. They think they are the people running the country. If government is signing any contract that is going to benefit me or come against me or go against me, it is very right enough for you to consult me that, hey, this is what Parliament has decided. Are you people okay with it? And we say, no, we are not. the mineral resources, the contract deals that are being signed are not going to reflect in the lives of the people, then what sense does it make? What benefit does it make to the ordinary young Ghanaian who would have to walk barefooted for more than 2 hours before they go and find water to come and bath before they go to school? Then what sense does it make if you come and tell me that you are going to build a country with free education, whereas the young people who are going to get the education can't even have potable drinking water to bath or to drink or to prepare their breakfast or whatever it is that they need to use water for? It is very disheartening. But all this is happening because the ordinary Ghanaian out there has been given the kind of education that does not make him think right, that does not make him understand even the problems happening around them. So the politicians who are seen as the educational elites in the society will go out there, sign the deals, and come and tell you that this is how much we are getting. And it's okay because when you even go to Congo, when you even go to other African sub-regions around us, they are not even getting how much we are getting. And it's the best deal for us. And the educational, what do you call it? The people who say they have gained a proper education, the academia, let me put it that way, in our country, who understand that, hey, this is not something that is going to reflect in the lives of the people. Keep quiet. They don't say nothing. And when you even rise up as a young person to speak about these things, it becomes a problem for you because victimization, threatening of life, intimidations from individuals become the norm. So everybody is scared. So the politicians or the people that we are putting in the hands of affairs to be managing these resources will go and take percentages and take it for themselves and give the country a peanut. How can a country that wants to develop, that needs money to be developing, will go to the IMF to go and borrow money, about $4 million, whereas your mineral resources underneath your soil worth trillions of dollars?
Currently, what leader on the continent do you believe is a good leader and a good example for leadership?
Africa. I believe that currently, I would have mentioned John Pope Magufuli because Magufuli actually exhibited leadership, actually, started something that most African leaders have not exhibited in the last 50 years or last 450 years after slavery. Well, Ghana is like 67 years after independence, and Ghana within the sub-Saharan Africa, we gained our independence first. So after 60 years, I think the last 10 years was when we actually experienced leadership from a leader in Africa, John Pope Magufuli. But currently, I believe that Paul Kagame is actually doing fantastically well for his people, because when you go to Rwanda right now, Rwanda is right now coming on top of the conversations when it comes to, the people getting decent accommodations, living in a serene environment, the environment becoming very clean and decent. So I would say Paul Kagame is actually doing fantastic for his people.
What are your thoughts about African countries referring to themselves as an independent nation?
Right. So, our first president, who is Dr. Osaje for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, said something that, we taking our political independence does not mean we are going to be free from the hands of the colonial rulership. Okay, we need economic freedom, and the economic freedom is what we don't have as a people. Okay, but talking about we being in shackles, we're not in shackles no more. Okay, we are free mentally to be able to give ourselves the kind of education that will make us understand the environment we have and how to build the environment. We need the kind of leadership that will make our independence very, beneficial to us mentally, psychologically, spiritually, and socially. This is what we are lacking. So I think that, yes, even though these foreign nationalities and business corporations are in our continent, it is happening because we are not being given the kind of education that will make us understand what we have as a people and rise up to this kind. what is happening. To be able to rise up to this kind of, situations that we find ourselves, that we are still in the hands of colonialism, because we don't make decisions on our own. We don't control our own economy. And by controlling your own economy and military is what makes you independent enough. And we don't control it. So a lot of people still think that we are not having independence enough. But hey, we are a country that we have the right to be making decisions for ourselves without listening to nobody. But our politicians, our leaders that we choose in office are puppets of the West. That is the problem we are having. And that has become the greatest challenge that we have after our independence. But if we are to be putting into office right-thinking leaders, patriotic and visionary leaders who understand where they are coming from as Africans and where we are going as Africans, I think that the freedom or the independence we have will come in fulfillment. We have the independence, which is the political independence. Even in political independence, we don't have it because we still think, or some people are still with the conviction that the West still, infiltrate into our politics and choose leaders for us, or puppets that will be, helping them to be controlling the people all the time. So we don't have our independence. I side with you when you say, do you think we have independence? I think we don't have our independence, even though we are not in shackles, but we don't have the freedom. If we don't have the decent homes we are supposed to be living as young people, if we are not paid properly to be living a decent life, if we can freely speak up in our country, then we don't have independence as a people.
All right. Next question I have is due to the time. Couple more questions.
Right.
What's the spiritual aspect with the younger generation in Ghana? Because I know are they practicing Christianity? Are they practicing traditional African spiritual sciences, or are they just kind of on the sideline?
Spirituality is a great thing in Ghana because we are still building a society where our cultural norms have been broken. Okay, it's been broken because we have lost who we are as Africans, as Ghanaians. Okay, and that is a great challenge. And our African spirituality is actually now not being practiced properly because it is seen as barbaric. It is seen as something that is not accepted in our own society that our ancestors actually believed in. Okay, so right now Christianity have become the on top of the conversation. Islam has become on top of the conversation. But we are Africans who believe in our ancestral worship, that believed in nature. And everything around us right now is getting destroyed because our spirituality has been broken, has been taken away from us, and we don't even have spirituality no more. And the few people who have come to understand that the consciousness, the African spirituality and the images around them are being seen as uncivilized people within the society, if I may call. And they don't even have their numbers, so they can't even go out there in our numbers to sample the education for people to understand. Talking about my hairstyle right now. Today, I was out there and somebody does not even understand that my hairstyle or the kind of hair I keep up here describe who I am and protects me as an African young person. But they see it to be, some kind of a ruffian or a gangster or some kind of, thing. But we don't resonate it to our ancestral ways of worship. We don't resonate it to the energies around us. That this is something that connects us to nature around us. Okay, so our African spirituality is actually down right now as a country. And this is the reason why we are not actually moving.
Is it true too that hairstyle, you won't get a job at you won't get a corporate job because of your hairstyle in Ghana?
Yes. Yeah. There are certain government institutions that you can't go with this. They will tell you to put it down, cut it off. Rasta, you put it in natural dreadlocks, you can work within the societies. I mean, some people are gradually understanding what it is, that this does not actually mean competence or take away your intelligence, okay? But this is, something that describes who you are as a black person, as an African, okay? And if, like yourself, you don't have it. It's not like you don't want to have it, but you don't have it, and you try to keep it low, okay? But you have the beard, okay? But coming to our own society and environment, somebody will tell you, hey, why do you have the beard? Why don't you go shave it? Why don't you take it off? And it does not really speak right of you, okay? This afternoon, somebody told me I'm a weed smoker, and I'm like, why am I a weed? Because I keep my hair like that. Do you understand? So it is. You can't work in certain corporate institutions when you have dreadlocks, when you have this kind of afro hairstyle. No, you won't be accepted.
All right. 2 more questions, right?
Quick.
One question is, Ghana seems to be the shining light on the continent, right? When people talk about Africa, everyone's talking about Ghana. Why is Ghana so attractive to people across the world?
It is because of the social life. It's because of the social life. Africans are very harmonious people. Africans are very social. We are very hospitable. So when you come to Ghana, you find out that you are safe, and everybody is actually coming to Ghana or seeing Ghana as what it is right now because of the social life. It's because of the kind of relation we have with people, how we welcome people. Ghana, when you go to some, I don't want to mention some African countries, but the language barrier is also a problem a little bit. Yes, because most of the people, African Americans, they really find themselves in Francophone countries. They find themselves in Anglophone countries. So when they are coming, they want countries that they can really communicate freely with. Okay, so that is one key, the language. And I think the basic is the way of the people, the life of the people.
What is up? What's the situation with it seems like the Ghanaian government is struggling to provide its citizens with stable supply of power and internet connection. Why is power and internet such an issue in Ghana in 2024?
Right. So I am not expecting, the energy sector, so I can't speak much about this. But the only thing I can say that I know and have information about is that government is refusing to pay suppliers of the electricity because of corruption, because of looting and sharing for themselves. You understand? Because I had a privilege speaking with one of the power suppliers in Ghana, and he was even caught in the news. When you come to the country, apart from the Akosombo, which is supplying Ghana with electricity, there are other underground or corporations that works under it that supplies the power. You understand? So the government needs to pay all these people, like the gridco. The gridco is supposed to take the energy and supply it to the government, all right, to the people. And government would have to pay gridco, which is the power suppliers. I understand. So the gridco sell the power to Ghana Electricity Company, right? And they would distribute it to the people. Now, government is not actually paying gridco their money, and they are not having the money to be facilitating their work to be able to get the energies we need to be able to distribute it to the electricity company, then sell it to the people. You understand? So it becomes tough for gridco to have the power in excess. And then government used to, supply the country with, a lot of people, because the previous government actually brought in power badges that is going to actually supply the country with energy. Now, the power badges are supposed to be paid for, okay? The gas and whatever that it needs to be able to generate the energy for us are supposed to be paid by the government to be able to be facilitating and distribute energies to the people. Now, government has been refusing to pay these monies for over 2-3 years. So how do you expect the power suppliers to be able to have the power in excess to be able to distribute to the Ghana Electricity Company and end up with the final consumer? So there is this one company, Assembly Power, who was also supplying energy to the government. The Ghana Electricity Company is also not being paid by the government for over years. So they have also said, okay, fine, we have excess power to supply the country, But since the government is not paying us our money, we are not going to supply the government with the energy they need to give to the people. So it is just failure in leadership. And it is all because of the wickedness and I would say selfishness on the side of the people in leadership. Because we play mere wickedness on the people, and it ends up with the people, because if people who are invested their monies in energy say, okay, we have the excess power to give to you people, all the government need is to give us the money, then we would also generate the power so that the Ghana Electricity Company would distribute it to the people. But government will say, okay, fine, you are coming from a place where we see you to be an opposition, or you are a threat to the government because you sponsor, the opposition government, or you are aligned to the opposition government. So why would we build your business?
That area won't get the electricity.
Come again.
So that area that's not supporting the government in power will not have consistent access to electricity.
No, so the government will not actually pay you for you to be able to generate the excess power that you can supply the people. And the government doesn't really care about it. You understand? Because if you are breaking my business in the expenses of the people, that literally tells me that you don't really care for your people. Because this is a Ghanaian business owner, investor, who has invested his money into the energy sector. And he's ever ready to produce or supply the amount of power you need. So all you do is to pay him his money, then he can supply the power to the energy suppliers, then the Ghana Electricity Company will supply it. So it is mere wickedness that has ended us into this. Corruption is what has ended us into this, because we are looting the monies to ourselves instead of investing it into the sectors that will help the ordinary Ghanaian to build their own business. Because when power is off, you don't have nothing to do as a country.
Is it true you were arrested in 2022 teaching students at a high school their rights to protest? How democratic tools can be used to demand accountability from school authorities?
Yeah. I've been arrested, I think, if I'm not mistaken, about 24 times since 2022 to 2024.
Hold on, you was arrested 24 times since 2022?
Yeah. Last year I was arrested 14 times, if I'm not mistaken.
They just pick you up and let you go?
Yeah, they pick you up, they lock you up, and some of them, we have even sued the Ghana Police Service. We have sued the Attorney General on this kind of issue, because the Attorney General is the judicial representative of the government. So some of these issues, we are dealing with them in court. Most of them has to do with, assaulting you, breaking your gadgets and stuff, because I go out there and do public advocacy, and some of this time, when you are doing it, you hold your cameras, you'll be recording whatever that's happening out there, and they will come at you, they will arrest you, they will pick you. It's a whole lot. I've been through a lot, advocating as a young person in my country, but it is for the love of the country and the calling that has been bestowed upon us by the national anthem. Okay, because the national anthem calls us to rise up and speak to resist oppressors' rule. So the oppression will come. Yes, I am picked up, keep behind bars for hours, sometimes for days, and because they don't have no case, they can't even press suit charges as to whatever I'm doing. I remember one of them that I was arrested because I went to one school to educate the young people that, hey, you guys are above 18 years and you have the right to exercise your fundamental rights as citizens. So if you think things are not right for you as young people in the school, why don't you rise up and protest, which is your constitutional right? And I was picked up for incitement and, detained for days. Later on, we had to, sue them for whatever they are doing against us. And the courts keep on adjourning the case. Today we go, they turn it down, and it's a whole lot. Because the judicial system has actually been infiltrated by the government as well. Because the Attorney General is being appointed by the President, the Chief Justice is being appointed by the President, and even the IGP is being appointed by the government. So even when you are protesting, the police, the young police officers know that things are not right. The police officers don't even have a decent accommodation. Even the police in our country don't have decent accommodations. And these are the same people that the government will use to come and victimize the people who are, protesting and demanding for accountability. So it is very tough in our country. But like I said, the national anthem and our pledge has actually entreated us a responsibility that we should rise up and resist oppression. So there is nothing more than oppression than what our government and our people in leadership are putting us through. And they want us to accept this to be a normal life. Some of us will never accept this as the normal life. We are going to advocate to educate our people, to call our conscience on this, to rise up and resist this oppression coming in the future.
Why do you do what you do?
Education is the way. I can see that behind you. Education, informing the people and inspiring the people to take away fear and rise up to protest and be demanding the life they deserve as people, as young people of this country. Now, the old statistics in our country says that the young Ghanaians are the average people from 18 to 45 are the most, of the population in our country. Yet, when you come to this country, the overpopulated people are the least people who are well taken care of.